This is Dirk with DMP Home Inspections and Home Watch Services, coming to you live again for podcast number 3. Well, this week I had a customer call, or actually email me, about the deficiencies that I missed in an inspection. Well, the inspection that was put out there was a 1915 home, and I told him before even then that there is chances of things being wrong with the house to begin with, just because of the age of the house. Well, after the inspection, there really wasn't a whole lot there. And I actually had 2 other people with me when I was mentoring with me to show them what the old house is supposed to actually look like and what have you. So, anyways, he got this email and he said that there was polybutylene pipe in the um, basement and outside. Well, when we were inspecting the house, we couldn't really see any markings on any of the pipes. Well, if there was polybutylene, I probably would have called it out. But then I had to go into, he wanted to know if I had E&O insurance to actually cover this, and I said it's not covered because of my inspection. We follow the InterNACHI standard, and I'm going to read what the standard actually says. The inspector shall inspect the main water supply shutoff valve, which we did. The main fuel supply shutoff valve, and there wasn't any there. The water heating equipment, including the energy source, venting, connections, temperature, pressure release valves, watts, 210 valves, and systematic bracing. And that would be like in California and whatnot. Interior water supply, including all fixtures, faucets by running the water, all toilets for proper operation by flushing, all sinks, tubs, showers for functioning drainage, the drain waste and vent system, and drainage sub pumps with accessible floats. The inspector shall describe whether the water supply is public or private based upon observation evidence, the location of the main water supply shutoff valve, the location of the main fuel shutoff valve, if any, the location of observed fuel storage system, and the capacity of the water heating equipment if necessary. The inspector shall report as in need of correction deficiencies in the water supply by viewing the functional flow in 2 fixtures operating simultaneously, deficiencies in the installation of hot and cold water faucets, active plumbing water leaks that were observed during the inspection, and toilets that were damaged and loose connections to the floor were leaking or had tank components that did not operate. The inspector is not required to light or ignite pilot flames. That's definitely a no-no. Measure the capacity, temperature, age, life expectancy, or adequacy of the water heater. Inspect the interior or flues of chimneys, combustion air systems, water softeners, filtering systems, well pumps or tanks, safety or shutoff valves, floor drains, lawn sprinkler systems, or fire sprinkler systems. Determine the exact flow rate, volume, pressure, temperature, or adequacy of the temperature or the water supply. Determine the water quality, potable or reliable, reliable, the reliability of the water supply or source. Open seals, plumbing access panels, inspect clothes washing machines or other connections, operate any valves, test shower pans, tubs, and shower surrounds or enclosures for leakage or for functional overflow protection. Evaluate the compliance with conservation, energy, or building standards, or proper design of sizing of any water, waste, or venting components, fixtures, or plumbing. Determine the effectiveness of anti-siphoning, backflow preventing, or drain stop devices. Determine whether there are sufficient cleanouts for efficient cleanout of drains. Evaluate fuel storage tanks or supply systems. Inspect wastewater treatment systems. Inspect water treatment system or water filters. Inspect water storage tanks, pressure pumps, or bladder tanks. Evaluate wait time to obtain hot water or at fixtures, or perform testing of any kind on water elements. Now, evaluate or determine the adequacy of combustion air. S. Test, operate, open and close, safety controls, manual stop valves, temperature, pressure release valves, control valves, or check valves. T. Examine ancillary or auxiliary systems or components such as, but not limited to, those related to solar, water heating, and hot water circulation. U. Determine the existence or condition of polybutylene, polyurethane, or similar plastic piping. Inspect or test for gas or fuel leaks or indications thereof. U says it. Determine the existence of conditions or polybutylene, polyurethane, or similar plastic piping. This is why it's so important to actually work with a standard. When you're not working with the standard, you do tend to not follow the rules, and sometimes that'll get you in trouble. So at every inspection, every single one of these standards are in the report, and so they can read what the inspector shall and shall not do. Now, of course, all these are you can always go above the standard and do a few things, but when you do, just know that it's not part of the standard, and you can always bring that up. Well, you found a gas leak. Well, the reason why I found a gas leak was because I smelt gas, and then I have a gas meter, and I just wanted to check to make sure, because I want people to be safe. That is going beyond the standard. And some parts we definitely want to go beyond the standard. We want to see behind those walls to see what's actually happening. And it's not so much that we want to do it for ourselves. We really want to do it for our customers. We really want to push the envelope for that customer so that they actually get a great inspection instead of just a good inspection. And sometimes it works really well and other times it doesn't. The idea that we're going to do everything in a house is absurd. And if we're going to check every square inch of a pipe, that's absurd. That's why there is professionals out there. Now, I am an electrician by trade, but I'm not going to use all my electrical knowledge for the home inspection because I can't. I'm not going to check every single wire to make sure that it was stamped in 1996 the way the house was built. Make sure that all the wiring is exactly the way it should be. No, I can't do that. I can't follow every single strand of wire and make sure that it goes where it's supposed to go. Looking at the legend of a electrical panel, you are not going to look at the legend and make sure that every single circuit breaker is exactly what it is. That would take too much time. That's when you hire an electrician for that. Same is true when you're dealing with HVAC. We can do a delta reading on it just to make sure that it's working the way it's supposed to. And the way I like to do is I like to take it at the vents and make sure that there's a good distinction, I can't talk today, between the register and the return. We want to see at least 14 degrees difference. If it's not 14 degrees difference, it tells me that there's something that's going wrong with that system. And then we go into the roof section, and there's a lot of things that I know about a roof that I kind of get a little bit of stickler on because I really want to see the roof installed properly. And on our reports, that's one thing that we do is we make sure that we are a little bit sticklers on it because that is moisture intrusion that could come in because the valley wasn't properly put in. We want to make sure that all the shingles and stuff are actually adhered. But I'm not going to pull up every single shingle on that roof. That would take forever. And my inspection period, I only do 4 hours, and 3 of those 4 hours are spent doing the job, and the last hour is to run around the house with the customer and just show them what I found. I like to teach them about their house and what the house has altogether. So that's why I do what I do, because I want the best for that customer, and I want them to know their house. Yes, I can tell them all about water softeners, but I'm not going to run it. It takes 4 to 5 hours for a full cycle to run for a water softener, so I'm not going to do it. So when we're in the plumbing area like that, I mean, you can always hire a plumber to come in and do his investigation or her investigation. It doesn't have to be just a home inspector. The idea of the home inspector is so that we get a good snapshot of the entire home and its components, so that we have something to go back with the realtor and say, hey, look, we need this, 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 and this. When things are missed, it happens. It happens all the time because we're human. And sometimes those big items, like foundation issues and stuff like that, can be overlooked because we're not structural engineers. We're not plumbers. We're just the first line of defense when it comes to your house. They could have hired all these other tradesmen to come through, an HVAC specialist, a roofer. You could hire a plumber and an electrician to come through and do all these things. But is it really worth their money? Because you're going to charge $150 to $200 just for them to show up, and then $150 to $200 an hour after that. So you're looking at probably about $1,000 bill per industry that you call into your house. Instead, what we do is, as a home inspector, we go through the house and relatively take our time, but you got to remember that we're only in there for a few hours, and we can't check every single square inch of the house because it's just not there. A lot of these people that call back are living in the house 3-4 months later and say, hey, my HVAC isn't working. Well, it was working at the time of the inspection. That's all we're there for. And sometimes people get a little bent out of shape, but out of the years that I've been doing this, I've only had a few callbacks, so it's really been a blessing for me. But also, just as a home inspector, you want to make sure that you're doing due diligence, doing the right thing to do what's right for your customer, and make sure that you're protecting your interests by getting the right E&O insurance, getting the right insurance period, and then if you're with InterNACHI, maybe doing the buyback guarantee and signing up for the $25,000 honor guarantee. Those things will actually protect your business quite a bit. This is Dirk with D&P Home Inspections. I hope this podcast actually helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe, do all that other fun stuff. Have a blessed day. Bye.